probably the most memorable moment for me when you talk about Texas Stadium. And by the way, when the last game, when they turned out that one light, if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. When they turned out that one light at the top of the stadium, and they put on that song that was sang by one of the greatest quarterbacks in Cowboy history. Turn out the light, the party's over. I'm telling you, that grabbed my heart deeper than anything. I didn't think I was going to do that, but I was about to cry. I didn't, but I was about to. First game at Texas Stadium, we came down the stadium, and the first thing I did was I looked up at the roof and I said, okay, that's the ceiling, that's the roof that God wants to watch. That's the team, one of the teams that everybody heard about throughout the league, the place where God wants to watch them play. That's the first thing I looked at. Then when we were out there watching, or excuse me, getting ready to play, warming up, Jethro Pugh, great defensive tackle, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. He probably should be in the Ring of Honor. Let me just get that in real quick. Came over to me and he said, Preston, look over there. And just over to the right-hand side of the tunnel as you come out, I missed it because it was up above us, there was this huge sign that said, welcome to Dallas, number 26, Preston Pearson. And I had not been here over a week. And I got to tell you, again, it grabbed me because nobody knew me in Dallas. And to see that sign on the side of it saying, welcome to Dallas, it got me again. And I think that's the reason why I'm still here in Dallas 35, 40 years later after retirement. So a lot of Texas Stadium folks, and Billy Joe alluded to it earlier, has a lot to do with you guys. And that's why it's called America's Team, because you fans.
Thank you.
Well, we go from one Pearson to the next. Wrap it up with a guy by the name of Drew Pearson, number 88. Mr. Hail Mary, you still go by that, don't you? 1975, and here it is, 2010. That's a long time ago, my friend. 35 years?
Yes, first of all, we did age before beauty, and that's why Preston went first. You know how we wide receivers are.
Yeah, trust me, we do. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, you came out of what, Tulsa in 73, right? You came out of Tulsa in 73, is that right? Free agent? 73. So it was just a couple of years after the stadium was built. How about you, the first time you walked into that stadium?
I was amazed by the stadium and all that went with it. Coming out of Tulsa University, we played maybe between, in front of 10, 15,000 people. And in my first exhibition game, that's what they called it back then, instead of preseason, exhibition games. We had played a couple games on the road. We broke camp, came back to Texas Stadium. My first game, we were playing the Miami Dolphins in the stadium. It had been raining, it was really humid and really hot. We were a little sluggish, jet lag, or whatever. We didn't perform well in the first half. And Coach Landry came in at halftime and said, guys, we need to pick it up. We need somebody to give us a spark. It just so happened we come out at halftime, we're receiving the halftime kickoff, and I was returning that kickoff. And the Dolphins, Gary Premium kicked it off to me. I caught it and brought it back. And I brought it back 53 yards. If I had any more speed, it would have been 100 yards. But it turned out to be a 53-yard return. And for me to be able to do that in that situation as a rookie, coming from Tulsa, where I pretty much made all or nothing at that university, and now doing something to help the Cowboys in that situation, even though it was an exhibition game, it was a tremendous thrill. And getting past the jitters, the awe, the wow factor and all that, and then to be able to step out there on the field with all these other great players was just very special.
Is there one thing that comes to mind, Drew? I remember, gosh, you came over and started your broadcasting career, I think, at NBC5 back with me back in the early 80s. You retired in, what, 83? But prior to that, you'd come over, you wanted to get into broadcasting, here you are still doing that stuff. Is there one thing now as a broadcaster or somebody that's retired from the game and away from the game, when you go there as a visitor, I guess, but you're always a Cowboy. It's like saying former Aggie. You're always an Aggie. You're always a Longhorn. You're always a Cowboy. And you guys, even years and years after you retire, still have that silver helmet with a blue star on the side of it, no matter where you walk. And a part of that, all these years, has been Texas Stadium.
Oh, without a doubt. We're identified. You know, we're America's team. We're the Dallas Cowboys. We're a lot. But a lot of our identity comes from the fact that we played at Texas Stadium. Texas Stadium, number one, was the wow factor. I mean, it gave us an advantage. I think it intimidated our opponent somewhat. It gave us a playing field advantage because the crown of the field was so high. Other stadiums were done with the dual purpose, baseball and football. This was the first pro stadium built solely for football. So it had the high crown. And that gave us an advantage because we knew how to maneuver and work off that crown. The hole in the roof with the sun shining, the shade, how do you work that? How do you catch a pass coming out when his ball's coming out of the shade into the sun and vice versa? As Cliff mentioned, returning punts, returning kickoffs. All that had to be gotten used to. And then the heat, you know, the 12 o'clock kickoffs, the sun and the shade, was on our side and the sun on our opponent's side. We used all those things to advantage. So, so first of all, we had advantages because we played in Texas Stadium, and that made it special right there. The other thing that made it special is we won there. Because we had those advantages, we won. We had great success winning football games, whether it was regular season or playoff games in that stadium. And the third thing that tied all that together, and the fact that we had that wow factor in the stadium, and the fact that we won there, was the fact that we had the coach, Tom Landry, and his mystique, his aura, gave us an added advantage as well. And the fact that he had a system that was created to help guys that weren't the fastest guys in the world, the biggest guys in the world, to have success, to have players like Rayfield Wright come from Fort Valley State, Cliff Harris from Ouachita Baptist, Drew Pearson from Tulsa, Mike Downs from Rice, you know, not necessarily great football factories, but we were there, we were able to make that team because of the way Coach Landry ran his system, and it was a system that depended on other things other than talent and ability alone, intelligence, discipline, character, and all those other kind of things. And because of that, it gave guys like myself and Cliff and some of these other guys I mentioned a chance to succeed. So you put all that together, and that's why, you know, it was such a great experience. The wow factor of the stadium, the advantage that we had there, the winning that we enjoyed there, and then of course playing for Coach Landry and all these other great players. That's what made it special. And they could take dynamite and implode this stadium and do away with it. But one thing they can't do is stick a piece of dynamite in my head and implode that to make me forget about the great memories that we have of this great stadium.
Well, you were very much a part of many of those memories. Mr. Hail Mary, Drew Pearson, thank you, Drew. Come on up, Ken.